guys, welcome. Good morning. We are here with Eric's Ion Anthem, which I still feel like we should add my name in, but that's a separate.
We're adding your name.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. I've got Eric Kilstrom here, the OG of the podcast. Thank you for having all of us, Eric.
Well, thanks for co-hosting with me.
You're welcome.
Because I thought it would get boring if it was just me and Griff.
For sure. And now that we have video, obviously they want to see me.
Yeah, video. No one wants to see us too.
And Griffin, thank you for being here, Griffin. Thank you for doing the behind-the-scenes stuff that none of us want to do.
Anytime.
Appreciate that. And today on our podcast, we have Pastor Randy with Sonoran Chapel. Thank you for being here, Pastor
my
Randy.
pleasure. Thank you.
Everybody be on their best behavior.
Amen.
Okay.
Nice start.
It was a really good start. And we're here at Amped Coffee Company. I feel like we should bring that up. Thank you so much for allowing us to be in your space and hosting here today.
We're in the employees only room.
We are. This is the
How do we get behind the door?
secret room to Narnia.
Yes.
I like it.
This is where the anthem set. I mean, this is where we meet quite often. In the Illuminati.
The seven. The Anthem 7.
Yes.
Okay. I want to dive in. So I want to talk to you, Pastor Randy, about you were Palmcroft Church, and now we've changed our name. Talk to me a little bit about that.
A lot of questions regarding that.
Yeah.
That's a great leading question. Even yesterday, I was at Wells Fargo, and the teller is like, now, who are you? And was this a new church? And I said, no, we were Palmcroft Anthem. And before that, we were Arizona Hills. And we're the only church in the state that's changed their names 13 times in 20 years. So we were Arizona Hills. We met at Boulder. I think you were with us at that back in the day.
Yeah.
And we merged then with Palmcroft. The original Palmcroft's at 35th Avenue and Greenway. They came to us and said, you guys don't have a building. I think we can help. We really like to see what you guys are doing. We love hearing what you're doing. Could we partner? And we said, absolutely. It was a great run, especially through COVID. But now 5 years later, we've kind of found that their strategy and style of ministry might be slightly different than ours up in Anthem. So we're parting ways. All our friends, everything's good. We are very, very grateful for Palmcroft and their support over the years. But now we are Sonoran Chapel. We have the same pastors. We have the same people. We have the same everything, same location, actually. The sign will be changed here shortly, probably in the next month. We just sent a check this morning to the sign company. So it's going to happen. So we're Sonoran Chapel. And everything's the same, except we are just trying to rethink. If we could start over, and we kind of are, what's that look like? And so being with you guys, I'm actually interested in hearing more than I am speaking, because you guys are at the heart of Anthem. You guys have been in Anthem for a long time. Hopefully this conversation will continue long after the microphones and the cameras are off.
All the AV equipment.
Yeah.
What do you feel like has been the heart of your ministry, though? You know how at different churches, like it's their kids' ministry, it's their women's ministry, it's their men's. What do you feel like yours has been?
Well, CCV has their strategy. It seems to be going okay for them over there.
Yeah.
Every church seems to have, they kind of gravitate to something's that makes them individualistic and separate or unique. That's probably the best word. I would say for us, kids ministry remains as one of our stronger components. Miss Katie is our director. Her heart is as big as Texas. Right now, we're just ending VBS. No matter where you come from, your kiddos are going to be cared for, loved deeply. In the past, youth ministry, junior high and high school has been, it remains strong as well. We've had good, strong leadership there. Really, within the last couple of years, we've seen an uptick of our men stepping up. Didn't see it coming, actually. And we started opening up some studies and some small groups for just men. And they're gravitating to that. I've been pleased on how men have stepped up, not only with their faith, but within their homes and then taking their faith into the business world. So I would say, and then our women's ministry has always been strong.
Yeah.
And that continues to be.
Do you feel like that kind of brings up to me men's ministry, that's one of the harder ministries? Because you've been pastor for many years, many different churches. Do you feel like that happens to be one that is the more challenging ministry in a church? Just getting them involved and wanting to open up in those different kind of vulnerable ways. And
Well, it depends on how many men are listening to this podcast that how I can answer it. I will tell you what I feel. Men, they have their close group of friends, and oftentimes, me included, why I don't need more of them. But once they go to a retreat and realize, they look around and they realize these men love God, they're good for me, I'm good for them. They start thinking maybe an hour out of the week at a men's group is worth it. And so I have found men to be hesitant at first, which I think might be what you are alluding to.
Right.
But then once it's opened, you can't stop them. I'm going to use an illustration that I sometimes use. We're going to be real vulnerable here. Men are like 14-year-old boys in some ways. Mom tries to get the 14-year-old boy to summer camp, and they don't want to go. And then they come back and they have 5 best friends, and they're like, I'm going to go every year.
Yep.
Well, women go, I've got all these friends. I got this Bible study. Why don't you go? Oh, I don't know. Just go to the men's retreat. And they come back and they're like, wow, that was amazing. I just thought we were going to sit around and sing Kumbaya and pray all day, all night. And they realize that they're normal guys up at the retreat. And so it's getting those guys across that line and then seeing what might happen. That's my experience, Sawana.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I'm raising 3 boys, and that's exactly what my life is like all the time.
Yep.
Trying to get them to do something. They're like, oh, you were right. It's very validating.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about over the last 5 years, though. So COVID-19, as a business owner, as the director of the Chamber of Commerce, I've witnessed in very different ways how that's impacted a community, right? On a very obvious level economically. Has it really impacted churches, attendance, how you show up, and how, I guess I would say?
Yes. COVID was rough on everyone, obviously, but navigating the masks right within the same church, you had best friends disagreeing horribly on whether we should even meet, how we should meet. And then you had the race component that the 2020, 2021. Oh my goodness, my heart's breaking. It was such a hard time. And at times I felt like when we drew a line in the sand or made a real hard stance, we had to because we believed it. But if we didn't, I felt like we were going to lose both sides of every issue. So speaking of CCV, whatever they decided when it was time to open, we followed them. We figured they had probably 20 attorneys and I didn't have any. So we tried to lean on the bigger churches. We were in conferences with the governor at the time. So, but coming out, we thought for sure, Sawana, I would have bet my last dollar that we were going to have everyone just show up.
Yeah.
I could not have been more wrong. It was a year and a half, 2 years, and people are coming. I thought they'd left. And they said, no, we followed you online. We're still giving, actually. We didn't feel comfortable coming back until now. And I'm thinking, it's 2023.
Right.
I don't have a problem with it. It just surprised me. So yes, coming out of it was going in it, but coming out of it was tricky because there was no books written on it. There are no manuals. How do you handle a pandemic?
Well, I feel like it's a thing still to a degree. Like we've all had to pivot in very different ways, right? To get business back, or maybe we've just lost business entirely and we have to attract new business now. Do you feel like that's also still the case?
I'll take it a step further. The churches that were healthy before the pandemic became even more healthy. And the churches that struggled before the pandemic really struggled and fell apart. It's almost like the pandemic became a fire to purify the industry, the church. And the churches that had their mind and hearts seemingly in the right place, they continued on, and they came out and they continued to flourish. We came back strong. Comparatively speaking, we came out of it really strong. It could have gone either way. I have no idea why we came through it strongly. But our people just, when they came back, it took them a while, but everyone's like, no, we're here. This is our church. You're our pastor. I was really pleasantly surprised. In fact, very encouraged.
Yeah. And what do you feel like your new challenges are now?
Boy, that's a really good question. Our space, we're about 15,000 feet in our current space on the corner of Venture and Anthem Way. And we have 15,000, it's about $40,000 a month rent. For a church our size, we have too much space and we have too much rent. Over half of our budget goes towards our building. We're trying to get creative and figure out how that can be a less of an albatross around our necks. We're trying to think about what we can do. Obviously, we want to grow and those type of things, but we don't want to grow just for money. When you start doing that, you start looking at dollar signs on everyone's faces as they come in the door. And I refuse to do that. People can smell that too.
Yeah.
So would it be wonderful if Jesus said, no, you've got an extra 50, 100 people coming your way? Oh man, we'd love it, because we love to minister to more people. At the end of the day, and you're a follower of Jesus, Sawana, as much as anyone I've ever met, it's hard, but it's necessary to say, this is not a Sonoran Chapel problem. This is a Jesus problem. Unfortunately, I have to say it about 100 times a day to remind myself.
Yeah.
So that's our challenge. We have the best people. We have the best pastors. We have the best board. I have the best board ever. I've never had a better board. It's just flat out money.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have money problems than people issues.
Absolutely.
Money is money, but we love our people. People love us, and we're so healthy in that regard.
Culture is everything.
It is.
If that's tainted,
The future
there's no
is
recovery.
bleak. Correct. And you come in as a visitor. And Eric, I don't know if you've ever been or not. I'd love for you to be a secret shopper for us one day. I don't know if, you're going to be well recognized, unfortunately, by many, but I love to hear friends come in and tell me, how did you feel? How many people said hi to you? Oftentimes it's, I can't believe how many people said, not just during church where it said, hey, say hi to somebody, but the amount of people in the lobby. And then they start recognizing people and like, oh, this is my new church. Warms my heart, thrills me to hear and see that.
Mm-hmm. At the risk of sounding political, I definitely don't want to do that, but that's not the intention here. I feel like another, talking about culture issue, could be a cultural shift in how pastors are viewed and how churches are viewed and how attending church is viewed.
Yes. Unfortunately, yes. Oh boy. Yes and yes, Sawana.
I just took us there.
No,
Let's go.
No, you're right. No, you're 100% right. When I started in 1986, the respect towards pastors was naturally high. Not much different than doctors. Doctors are questioned more than they've ever been questioned ever right now, because we all have the internet. We get on and we start, and they're like, oh, you're driving us crazy, a doctor, but they probably appreciate it on the other hand. Same with us. Everyone is listening to sermons from the greats, the Andy Stanleys and the John Pipers. And so the problem is they're comparing those sermons to the top 10 preachers in the country to me. Well, I'm pastoring like 30 hours a week. I have to do admin and I have to do these other things. And I get 10, 12 hours of prep. Those guys have teams around them. They're naturally better communicators. And there is more suspicion. And that's the word that I think is key here.
Yeah.
There is suspicion of pastors. If I ask for money once a month, I'll still get someone that says, you ask for money too much. You can't win.
And at the end of the day, it is a business in a sense.
Well,
stay open and continue to do what you're doing.
And I would even say the opposite. I'd say you're not giving to the church. This is not a consumeristic transaction. You are giving to God, and you're entrusting us with your tithe. If everyone tithed to their local church, there wouldn't be a church that had issues with their finances. And so I just tell people it's for your good. I would rather suffer than you grudgingly. Is that a word?
Sure. Begrudgingly?
Yeah.
Griffin, tell us. What is it?
Griffith knows. I think at the end of the day, I would rather be in need of money than someone just rolling their eyes, crossing their arms and saying, here's a gift. I don't need that money, because that money is to Jesus. It's not to us.
Mm-hmm. That, and like you bring up the megas, they have the social media presence, right? Like you said, they have the pomp and the circumstance. Do you feel like that's a challenge too, where I can just go and watch online Stephen Furtick, right?
That's right.
Or I could come to my community. Like there is an importance to showing up in your community with your community of people. And I think that's getting missed.
I think the Stephen Furticks of the world would probably tell you, if they were sitting here with a camera on them, they'd probably say, this isn't your church.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Pastor Randy's church.
100%.
Go to Crossroads. Go to Valley Life. There are good churches. Go to those churches. Jump in with us. Send us a gift, but send it above and beyond the tithe. I don't know many of those celebrity pastors that would say something different than that, but it is really tempting. You know, our production is 2 cameras and it's decent light and decent audio, but we can't match the big mega productions for sure.
So how do you then market yourselves and draw people in?
I hate marketing.
Yeah.
And it sounds so insincere.
Yeah.
We hired, as you know, Pastor Mark, who owned a advertising company for churches and nonprofits. We hired him as our executive pastor. Like, we have built in, he did our logo, he helped with the name change, he did our whole site. I mean, having him on staff is the biggest godsend I can think of ever in my 36 years of ministry. I think I've told him that personally. If not, I will go and do that today, because we are that grateful for him. He tries to keep our posts authentic, because that's who we are. He tries to match the post to who we really are. So when Eric comes this Sunday at 9 or 10:30, when a guest comes and they follow us, they're going to go, that's really similar to what I see. I appreciate that, because it doesn't do us any favor by trying to make us more like a mega when we're not, especially when some people don't want a mega church, which I get. They don't want to watch me on a screen. I hear this more than anything, Swana. I want to be able to say hi to the pastor in the lobby, and I want him to be able to pray for me when I'm in need.
Yeah. That
personal touch is, I think, is still invaluable today.
I think we crave it even more today than we ever have.
Maybe
we recognize it or not, but I do think that's true. So then community. Let's go to the community. How does the business community, the residential community, this small-ish town of Anthem, how do we support best our churches?
I didn't see this one coming at all.
So up at 9 or 10:30.
Show up at 9 or 10:30. Which one are you going
to do the rest? What time do you go?
10:30.
10:30. When's the better music? When's the, do you have an old school choir and then a new band, or
it's
do
all
both?
It's all contemporary.
Contemporary.
Yeah.
Randy sings sometimes.
How would the business, man, I don't know, because it's a similar answer that you give me. When I talk to you about the chamber, every single time I could go back to my text messages. Sowana, you say the same thing. How can I serve you?
Yeah.
What can the chamber do for you? I've tried to trick you, and you still say the same thing. I would say I may not be as good at verbally putting that in text and saying that as Sowana is. No one's good as Sowana in anything, but that is our heart. I don't want the business world to and our business friends to serve us. I love when I'm called. Do you remember us when you opened up your new buildings?
Yeah,
We
teaching and
walked
prayed.
room to room and prayed
Yes.
after each one. That was so special.
So special. And we wrote Bible verses
Yes.
on the 2x4s inside the wall.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you committed that to Jesus in front of me and several other people. I love when the business world reaches out to us. I love when the ACC calls. I've spoken at the MLK event 2 years in a row. Is there a greater honor
Yeah.
than the ACC calling me and entrusting me with such a big event? Music in May might be bigger, but the MLK event is bigger in terms of importance. And even if I'm not invited, I'll go. I will attend it. I will support it. And so I would answer it the other way. I just love to serve your friends at the chamber and Rotary and so on. We are so honored to do so.
You do such an amazing job. Truly. Thank you. You're always the first to volunteer space or partner with us on Trunk and Treat, which is huge in this community.
Yeah.
The community loves it.
You're welcome.
And I would agree, you have the best children's ministry. Our kids love it there.
Thank you.
Even feral honey badger Maverick loves it there.
We love Maverick.
Loves to destroy those classrooms.
We love Maverick.
You got anything, bud?
No, I just love to see, I think, longest standing church in Anthem, if I remember correctly, because I moved to Anthem and it was Fellowship Arizona Hills, and I just happened to go to Fellowship, and Fellowship is no more. So congratulations. And, it's a great thing seeing across the country. I mean, ABC had Jelly Roll and Brandon Lake sing Heartfelt Hallelujah. And who would have ever thought 3 years ago, even last year, you'd have a Christian singer on American Idol, and it's completely changed. I feel like this country's turned 180, obviously politically, but also religiously. And it's up to great guys like you to take what's going on in this world, and be the light in the world. And so thank you for being the light in Anthem.
It's interesting you use those as examples. I think those are great examples. I'll add one more to it that I don't know who in this room are sports fans, particularly college football. Me being an Ohio State Buckeye fan, this is a good year for me to be a Buckeye fan for sure. But the revival that's taken place on the campus of Ohio State in Columbus, the revival that's taken place at South Bend with Notre Dame. And if you watch those players at the end of that game, Ohio State against Notre Dame, and how they knelt together and prayed for each other and encouraged each other, coaches baptizing their players baptizing players, Ohio State having literally thousands show up for players to share their story of how they found God, and people coming in saving knowledge. There is a revival that's taken place, particularly in that, I don't know if that is that Gen Z or Y. I get all my letters. Yeah, there are too many. All I know is I'm a boomer, and we're old school. But that younger generation is coming alive spiritually. To your point, Eric, you're exactly right. There's things happening, and I don't see us playing a part in making it happen, but I will ride that wave for sure.
Yeah, since you brought up Ohio State, I do have to ask you how you feel in defense of my Michigan friends. Like, do you really feel you won the national championship without beating Michigan that year? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I am no fan of neither. I'm an ASU guy.
I wish you were the first to ask me this question. You are not.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to.
I would tell you that Michigan made us better, and they probably regret it because we got so mad when we lost that weekend. It's always the weekend of of Thanksgiving. We were so mad that we ended up going, you know what, let's just win the whole thing, which we did. And if you look at my license plate, there's some evidence that we won it too, but people see me around.
Congratulations. It was a great, my good buddy Wyatt Wood is a big Ohio State guy. And so, but my Michigan fans are going to love what I did. So I'm trying to bring people to watch the podcast, and then we can bring them to Jesus after they pick Ohio State or Michigan.
Which, by the way, the long snapper for the Buckeyes the last 3 years, starter, played the national championship, went to Boulder.
Really?
And I met his dad at Music in May 2 weeks ago. His dad's name is John, and great family. And he's going to come in January, February after the season, after they won the national championship again. He's going to come and share his story at Sonoran Chapel.
Let you touch his ring?
Yeah. Hope so.
Wear his ring, maybe?
Maybe.
Both of them.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Appreciate you guys.
How can people find out more about Sonoran Chapel?
SonoranChapel.com. It's up and running. It's a great site. Like us on Facebook. And we don't have much of a presence yet on YouTube, but that's changing soon. But
Starting with this podcast.
That's right.
Sawana's Eye on Anthem.
And Eric. Tiny letters and little asterisks.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time.